I'm going to dare you so much to decide to not be in any type of reaction to what November is and create what November is. Slowing down time. It's a big deal. And I think it's going to make a lot of sense the way it's been coming through for me. You know, right now, we're only this moment, which is kind of a cliche thing we hear in spirituality all the time. So we're just right here. There's just right now, right? And if there is time, which there isn't, by the way, if there is time, it goes at its own pace, meaning like eventually the moon will be up, it'll be dark, and it goes at its own pace. So we don't even need to worry about that because eventually that'll just happen. So right now you don't have to go into the future and look at that or look at what happens tomorrow or look at what happens next week. You just have to be here. So time does its own thing, right? So you don't have to worry about time. So instead, I want you to connect with the now, because the now will contain time, and there will be eventually dark and then light and then the next day and then the next day and then the next day. And so what I want to offer you right now is to be here, and we're going to move with time as time moves itself versus us trying to get into the future or us trying to get into the past, right? Rupert Spiro once said, you know, you can't go visit the past. Like, I can't go with you right now to a time where you were doing something else. You can think about it, but it's all contained within this now. You can't go into the future. Your mind can escape the now while you're actually still in the now. And you can do everything you can to create the illusion of the fact that you're in the future, which is really just an escape from now. But all we have is right now. Right? All we have is right now. And if you really connect to the now, meaning like you're always in the now 100% of the time, but your mind often isn't. If you allow yourself to actively pay attention to the now, you'll notice that it contains everything. This now contains the true you. It contains all of you, right? And we're very scared to meet all of us. So we've created a smaller version of ourselves that uses the illusion of time as an escape from the now. So you have a you that's constantly in the future, anticipating what's going to happen, as an escape from the all that is now that contains you, and it contains everything and everyone, everything, right? And this now is a very healing thing because it wants to bring out your darkness and heal it. It just is dying to do that with you. But you've created a false identity that's an escape from this. It's the only way you could escape the all that isness that would just heal you right out the gate, that would do every single thing to just take care of everything for you, is you've created a timeline and you've created a you that's constantly in the future and constantly in the past. And it's a smaller, false, not even real version of you that's like, it's this big when the true you is all that is, right? So you go, I got to be this smaller, separate self. And the smaller, separate self is going to look to the future and look to the past and constantly be there. Oh, I know I am how much money I make or lose. I am what they think of me. I am that future relationship. I'm all these things that are an escape from the giant, magical all that isness of the now. And this all that isness of the now is moving at its pace. And the ironic twist of the now is so much more gets done while it feels like nothing gets done. If you live in the now, see, the now is healing aspects of yourself that sometimes you can feel a lot of busyness and the illusion that so much is getting done while nothing's getting done. It's almost like we've created in our mind, I need to feel busyness for things to get done. But the busyness is actually quite a bit of an escape from so much getting done, right? someone that had a job for 30 years at a very busy place so they can feel like things are getting done, a lot of times that job is used to prevent themselves from really looking within. I don't have time to actually look at my soul, Kyle. I don't have time to meditate because I have this thing over here that I have to do, right? And we're doing it backwards. And we're going, look, I'm getting so much done when really very little's getting done. Now, when I went for 10 days to a darkness retreat and sat in the pitch black for 10 days in total silence, other than hearing certain bears walking around my cabin and different things like that, so much got done. Felt like nothing was getting done while it was happening, but so much got done. And if you move within the laws of nature, nature moves like so much is getting done while it looks like nothing is happening, right? When you look at a tree growing, you don't even get to see the pace that it's growing, but it's creating so much. Nature's doing so much. The rules of God and the universe are creating so much at such a much more true pace that actually has a foundation in it and creates real change, right? Or you can create a false busyness to feel like everything's getting done as an escape from anything getting done. Now, we don't know what would happen if, as November shows up, usually when we talk about what's coming up each month, we go, here's what's going to happen, and here's how we're going to let go, and here's how we're going to do all this different stuff. I'm going to dare you to proactively take the reins of your life in November. Like, we need you in November versus you just going, what's going to happen? Oh, this will happen and this will happen. And then they'll say this and all this stuff's going to be revealed. That's true. But I don't want you to sit back as just a passive viewer to these things. I want you to join me in changing what's going to happen in November. And you can actively do this, right? And what do I mean by that? We're going to actively connect to the now so much that the timelines that tell you what's going to happen dissolve and new timelines form around your now, right? We're very good at going to different people and learning different things and hearing different projections about all the different things that are going to happen, whether it's through the regular news, whether it's through conspiracies, whether it's through psychics, whether it's through intuitives telling you what's going to happen the next month. But what if it's all a mirror of you? And what if you are here to go to a frequency that's even higher than all those intuitives answers, all those psychics answers, all those other things? Right? So that you stop looking in any way outside and connecting to the now and changing what will happen. I want you to really consider the idea that you change what will happen. Because if you're just a lost timeline trying to escape your trauma, you're very easy to control. You're very easy to create whatever agenda is being created because you're in your own fear of your own trauma. But as you actively decide to full on connect to the truth of what you are and let timelines disappear, you are going to find a power in you that is bigger than all the things that could ever happen to you. Now, you might right now hear what I said and be like, well, that sounds crazy. And you will look at a false timeline to escape your connecting to the now. That sounds crazy. If I try to meditate, yeah, he's telling me if I just connect to the now that it's going to change all these things. And your timeline that you've created as a false identity will actually show up to try to outwit you from you actually finding out what you are. Right? You can actually outwit yourself from meditating. You can actually anticipate how it will go from a false timeline. Do you understand what I'm saying? You'll literally go, I meditated before and I know what happens, as a way to not do it. Right? And you're either meditating or you're not. You're either connecting to the now or you're not. And when we started this call, someone said, hey, calm Kyle, I've been meditating. I've been connecting to the now, and I can feel how much more can get done in this now, because it's almost like the Matrix where they're slowing down bullets, right? When you're really present, so much more can be contained within you, right? Because you're not a scared small timeline trying to get a bunch of stuff out or learn a bunch of things real quick. You can contain more. You can contain the all that isnness. You lose your judgment for what is, and you become the whole thing. This now is not scared of things that are run on timelines. And by the way, you're just connecting to it for a second. I'm going to dare you. I'm going to dare you so much to decide to not be in any type of reaction to what November is and create what November is. Do you understand this? We're going to create what November is. So instead of you getting that, okay, here's what I should look for in November, which is all a slight declaration that it runs you. It doesn't. But if you believe it does, you're going to stay the separate small timeline self in reaction to what it is. We're going to create what it is. What if the greatest content you've ever heard is nothing compared to what's trying to come through you? What if that's the most true I've ever heard from any speaker or anything, or I can see the thing. It's nothing compared to what's trying to come through you. You're still on an external. Even like if you look at something like, is the collective waking up? That is a declaration that you are in response to what the collective does versus the collective is mirroring you. Really get this. I want to take away your ability to declare that the outside has any control over you. And I want to offer you at the level you want, because I'm sure going to be doing this, us to listen to the all that isness that's in you. And any vision, even that you get in your meditation, will be a passing vision. Right? You could meditate and start to see glimpses of what November is going to be, but you just stay there and watch as it changes. The more I meditate, the more it gives me visions of what the future is, but that's passing. I can be 5 minutes later in a meditation and it's like, never mind, that was a timeline. That was different. You're the elevator and you're looking at a floor, right? You're the elevator. So as you connect to the now, psychic predictions are going to leave. As you connect to the now, intuition is going to leave about what's going to happen externally, because it's all mirroring your connection to you. My dare is that you run the whole thing. Everyone take a deep breath in and release it. And I'm going to show you one of a billion beginning ways to do this. One is I want you to notice any tangible thing that you can grab onto during your meditation must be transitory. Okay. Any tangible thing that you can grab onto during your meditation must be transitory. In other words, anything that you think that's the answer needs to be able to let go, right, and released, right? It's very, 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 very important that you understand this. Anything that you can tangibly measure as any type of answer, next step, whatever, must be passing. A lot of times people meditate, have a breakthrough, and then make the breakthrough the revelation and then get stuck on that, right? They get stuck on that breakthrough. That's the answer. Nope. The breakthrough happened within the now. The now is the answer, and the now is you. So your breakthrough has made you stuck, right? It's just a byproduct of you connecting to the now. When someone goes, my meditation told me this, so what? That doesn't mean what they told you is the answer. That's a passing thing. My meditation brought up this moment of my darkness from my past. That's a passing thing. You are a portal, and you're making yourself a bigger and bigger portal to release and heal and move everything. You need to understand that you are the now, and you need to move from knowing that as a mental concept to becoming that experience. I want you to understand reality is this bendable. But if your belief is reality is the truth, then you can't bend it because it's bigger to you than you. Your perception is you are a small bend, or you are a small reaction to reality. And life's trying to mirror to you that you falsely see yourself as separate and small based on how you've moved so far. And it's too big now for you to be able to do that. And you have the choice right now to experience everything. So I'm going to start guiding you a little bit in a meditation to give this practice. And I want to offer you, when you get those little reports, sometimes my phone will be like, hey, you've went down 8% last week and you only looked at your phone 8 hours and 54 minutes a day. You ever gotten that? Your phone? Congratulations. Your screen time is down to you only look at your phone 8 to 9 hours a day. If you get that, or you check, you probably put more energy into making yourself a separate person that is in response to external reality. Do you understand what I'm saying? But what if you could have something go, congratulations, your connection to the now time is up. You connected to the now 9 hours a day. Now reality is a completely bendable thing. Because the only way to change reality is to see what you haven't seen. That's it. There's enough things that have happened in quantum physics that show that observing something changes reality. And in your body is a bunch of stuff you haven't seen. Observing changes reality. Observing, not fighting, observing. There's a very famous thing I've talked about before called the dual slit experiment, where literally I can't remember how it exactly worked, but they were shooting molecules through something and then it did something that didn't make sense. So they put this extra observer on it and they had another camera on it to see. And it acted different because it was being watched. It did a different thing because it was being watched. You have to understand, reality changes once you see a new truth. It changes things, right? That's what let's think about this. Let's think about this on an obvious level that this group of people have seemed to change, right? If you work with me or you do any inner work on yourself, what makes someone cry? When you watch me work with someone and then you watch them cry, how could they cry? What is different? Oh, we see something, right? What happens, right? when someone is doing inner work, or they work with a therapist, or they're doing a call live with me or whatever, they could feel anger towards something, but then they could meditate and go within and realize that's the anger they felt towards their dad. They just felt unseen. Then they see the part of them that felt unseen. They hold a space for it, and it turns into tears. You literally shifted in your body. Do you understand what I'm saying? You shifted in your body reality by observing. So at the ultimate version of you, the more we see, the more reality changes. At the unconscious version of you, you need to use force and fight to change reality, right? That person doesn't see me, so I'm going to scream at them to see me. That person doesn't get me, so I'm going to force it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That person doesn't get me, so I'm going to yell at them. That country doesn't understand us, so we're going to go to war with them. This is a very unconscious thing that doesn't understand how the quantum reality works, right? I'm going to fight to have them see what they don't see versus I'm going to see what I don't see, so this reality changes, right? So if you can see a truth in your body and that suddenly causes you to change, you could be mad at someone else, go within, see where you were unseen, cry it out, and lose your anger at someone else. Isn't that weird? How could your anger at someone else change based on you seeing something inside? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it turns out you were unconscious, and the patterns that you were creating were trying to use force to change something in them, but it turns out you were never actually mad at them. You were unconscious. Take that in. You're not mad at anyone. You just have new consciousness to discover. There's no enemy. You just haven't seen something inside of you. There's no enemy even in the government. You just haven't seen something inside of you. And if you stay in the pattern timeline that keeps you from looking within, you will stay in this constant argument pattern, and you will create enemies outside of you, and they will do what they need to do to get you to go within. So they'll keep being assholes, they'll keep fighting, they'll keep doing all this dark shit because you're not looking inside. And if you're spending more time on the phone than going inward, life's got a mirror to you. Okay, make the government more crazy. They're putting themselves in their own mental lockdown, put them in an external lockdown to show them that. Like, you're imprisoning yourself every time you check the external versus the internal. It's an escape from what do I not see inside of myself? I'm going to go outside to see if it's working. I'm looking outside. Now you're looking at the mirror, and that's the action you're getting. You're staring at the mirror versus you. Right? So we got to slow down time and just gently, and what I mean by that is move in accordance to the connection to the actual time that's here right now, and not ever become an argument with the time that's here by creating a false timeline that goes into the future or the past. Be right here. Everyone take a deep breath in and release it. And here's the amazing thing. You don't even have to look for what to observe. If you just close your eyes, it will start to show you things. So what is that? What is this it that's showing you stuff? Isn't that weird? There's something else doing shit. In other words, you could sit for an hour and a bunch of shit just happens. Isn't that weird? What else is doing it? If you're sitting there doing nothing, how is there some other thing that's making things change? There must be some energy outside that's got it, that's taking care of everything. But here's what's crazy. You're still running the ship in that. Are you actually letting the energy that changes everything do it? Or are you egoically trying to get in charge of it? Like there's a CEO of this business that already runs everything magically, but you can come in like an intern that's more in charge of the CEO. Do you get what I'm saying? You have no experience. You're not nearly as good at doing this, and you can take over and not let the magical God CEO do its thing. Your job is to connect to that God CEO that has a long time of experience in knowing how to create change and say, you do it. I'm going to go within and let you show me what I need to see. I'm going to go within and let you bring to light what needs to be brought to light. I'm going to create with you a bigger and bigger and bigger space in this now that has no time in it. I'm going to understand that all realities are possible that are way bigger than anyone's ever told me, and any projection of anything was someone else's timeline. Let's not make someone else's timeline your God. Let's change all of it and let life change around you. So November, you're going to actively see what you've never seen. That's your job in November. Actively see what it wants to show you. That's what November's for. You starting to take the reins and going, I'm going to see what it hasn't shown me. And I'm not going to be in constant response and reaction to predictions and fear, because those predictions and fear are a mirror of where I'm at and what I haven't seen in me.